Sometimes you just need a great sitcom to cheer you up, and Abbott Elementary is just that. If you like The American Office and you like Parks and Recreation, I think you're going to like this show.
Okay, so if the store has 10 potatoes, right? And you take away 2 of them, how many potatoes would the store have left?
Janine, what did I say about taking my potatoes from the lunchroom?
But visual learning is so much better.
Well, guess what? Now you have 0 potatoes.
Hello and welcome to Screen OD. If you're new to the channel, hello, my name is Tim. I'm an editor and a journalist who's been writing and talking about TV, movies and the entertainment industry for almost 15 years. If you're not new to the channel, hello again, it's great to have you back, and tell all those newbies that they should subscribe to the channel because then they'll get all the best content direct to their feed. Right, let's get the adverts over. Do hit the like button though if you've got time to do that, because today we are talking about some comedy, and really good comedy too. It's not often that you get a great American sitcom come along that will be in the same category, I think, for many people in the future as some of the shows I mentioned at the top of this video. The Office, the American version, Parks and Recreation. There's definitely a feel of both of those shows when you get into Abbott Elementary. This is a show that I think you are going to like a lot. Okay, so Abbott Elementary, as you may have guessed from the title, is a workplace sitcom based in a school, which you also may have guessed is called Abbott Elementary. Now, an elementary school is for younger children, for those in the UK audience who don't know what that is. So we're talking about teachers teaching kids who are, you know, in the age group of 6, 7, 8, that sort of age, rather than high school children, teenagers. This is filmed in a mockumentary style, which is a style that was made very famous in comedy terms in the UK by Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant's The Office, and obviously was transported into the US Office, which starred Steve Carell and became a huge hit and ran for many, many seasons in the US, and of course is a style that has been used in lots of different shows since. We haven't seen it as much recently, but it's good to see it back, and it works really well here. So Abbott Elementary has been chosen to be a subject in this mockumentary because the film crew, we're told, are making a show about essentially underfunded schools in the country, and this school in a predominantly black area of Philadelphia has been chosen to take part in this series, which is causing quite a lot of excitement in the school, especially with the principal, who we'll talk about in a few moments. At the centre of the show is a character called Janine, who is a history teacher at Abbott Elementary. She is played by the creator of the show and writer of many of the episodes, Quinta Brunson. And Janine is one of only 2 teachers, along with Jacob, who have made it past a year at the school. It turns out pretty quickly that this is a school that has pretty harsh conditions, is fairly underfunded, and is a place that, well, people don't necessarily want to spend their lives teaching. The principal, or the head teacher as we call them in the UK, that's Ava, who's played by Janelle James. Now, Ava's very excited that the school has been chosen to be the subject of a film, even though it's clear that it's probably for the wrong reason. She thinks all publicity is good publicity, and she seems to be in a hurry to, well, not do a great deal. She wants an easy life, and she's trying to save money because there's no money to be spent on anything, and she isn't particularly helpful with many of the teachers in the school. Next, you have Melissa, played by Lisa Ann Walker, who's a 2nd grade teacher who, you know, frankly, it seems a little bit dodgy. She's got some questionable connections, but she manages to get things done. And so in this teaching world where there's no resources and not many people to help you, she helps herself. At the other end of the spectrum, you have Barbara, who's played by Cheryl Lee Ralph, who is a quite strict and religious kindergarten teacher. Now, all of her kids do exactly what they're told, which is unlike all the other children in Abbott Elementary. And this is someone that Janine kind of looks up to as someone who really has got it sorted in teaching terms. And I think in some ways thinks that perhaps one day she'll be like her. And then there is Jacob, who's another history teacher, played by Chris Perfetti. He is quite an awkward character. He's often on the periphery of conversations and is quite sidelined by a lot of the louder teachers who've got bigger personalities personalities than him. But one thing he is very sure of is he is always going to be politically correct. He's always going to say the right thing at the right time. The final main member of the teaching staff that we see all the time at Abbott Elementary is Gregory, who is played by Tyler James Williams. He's introduced in the first episode of the sitcom because the teacher that he's replacing has had to be got rid of because they kicked a pupil, and as everyone says, that is going too far. So why is this a comedy that you should watch? Well, number one, it's funny. And you know what? Not enough sitcoms are funny. It's snappy and funny. It's, you know, it's the short network American episode length. You know, they're 20 something minutes each, and they just really grab you, they grip you, and they make you laugh. The characters are strong, but also there's a huge amount of conflicts, and they're all pushed together in this space. The school environment is a brilliant place for a workplace comedy. Not just because you have the children and the chaos that comes with them in the background, but because you have people who are there with different motivations. There are the people who are the passionate teachers who really do believe that this is the most important thing, a calling of sorts, and then you have the people there who aren't necessarily quite as motivated. What this show does really well is it brings a lot of the social commentary that comes around schools and the environment, the funding, the importance of teachers and their role, and it makes jokes, but it makes jokes that land with points, right? It tells you stuff about the system. We know that there's not enough funding in schooling. We know that a lot of teachers are working up to their eyeballs in problems, and this is a show that, without preaching in the way that perhaps a drama might feel it like it is, it's a comedy that lands a lot of those points in a really funny and quite poignant way. And having Janine at the centre of all of that as a character who, you know, in some ways does remind you of that kind of desperate need to be loved and to be right, like you might find in Michael Scott in the American version of The Office. And, you know, there are shades of Leslie Knope from Parks and Recreation in some of the parts of her character. But unlike those two, which are two shows which I do think that if you like those, you'll like this. But unlike those central characters, Janine is more of an understated character. She is more of an every person character that you might expect in a different type of show. And she is probably, you know, in many ways shows just how the people that get things done in shows like this are the people who aren't necessarily flashy. You know, she may be downtrodden, she may have big ideas, but she is part of the system and getting things done. And that is also part of the humour in this show, which is that everyone has chaos around them. Everyone is in a terrible state a lot of the time, and there's a lot of conflict, but somehow they are still getting things done. Now, if you like comedy and you like network comedy, which has a real edge to it and a bite to it, I would say that this is something that you should go and watch now. And if that's something that's interesting to you in the UK, you can watch it now on Disney Plus, and if you're in the US, it is on ABC.
We do this because we're supposed to.
His show ain't the money.
I can make more work in the street. Easy.
Thanks so much for watching the video. I hope you found the review interesting, insightful, or perhaps even entertaining. If any of those things are the case, why not subscribe to Screen OD if you haven't already? And you get all the best content direct to your feed. And of course, we would really appreciate it if you hit that like button too, so that more people get to see this content. Go check out all the other videos on Screen OD if you're a fan of the movies or streaming TV. And we will see you again so very soon.